Archtypes. So we're going to take a look at that now. First thing you need to do is go to your editor, and I will assume you know how to do that. Go to the Archetype tab, click on that. Now what you'll see is I've already got one pulled up. I pulled up Warrior of the Holy Light because I have a paladin, I'll show over here, who uses this ability. All kinds of good stuff in there, so we can refer back and forth a little bit. Now the way I got to it is if you go down to the button down here, the new copy, click on it, you'll see a list of all the archetypes that currently exist within the system. So Warrior, we'll just find it real quick. Warrior of the Holy Light right there. So I just clicked on that and clicked OK, and it comes up. So I'm going to cancel just to get out of there. So now the question is, what do you do once you have it up? Something we're not going to look at, and this is probably what a lot of people need the most help with, is the scripting associated with making it do some weird things. The reason we're not going to get into the scripting is the scripts could be anything. It's too varied to know exactly what to do. It all depends on what you need to do. So I could try to do a script in here, and it has absolutely nothing to do with what you need anyways. So it's useless. So I'm not going to do the scripting. We can take care of that some other time. But I am going to go through all the list of things here to show you what you can do and what you can't do with it. So the first thing you want to do is give it a name. This is Warrior of the Holy Light. You want to give it a unique ID, and I'll assume that you know how to do that, and that's just an ID that the system recognizes. In this box here, this is the text that's going to say about what it is, what this archetype is. You know, a little background, whatever, the flavor text of what's going on. Okay, now down here we get into the meat of the stuff. Under the class to modify, if you pull this down, this is a list of all of the classes that are in the game. So here we would choose, it's an archetype for what? In this case, it's a paladin. So if we wanted to make it, let's say, for a monk, now we get this, don't worry about these warning messages. It's just stuff that I can't duplicate. And we're going to see that in message a lot, so really just ignore it. So if I were to change it to a monk, that means this would be allowed for the monk class. It'd be a monk archetype now. So let's just put it back to paladin. Yeah, that's going to get annoying, I promise. Class level variant. If you ever want to know what these are, just scroll over top of this question mark and it'll tell you exactly what it is. You probably don't need to mess with the variant class level. That's if it changes. Let's say something similar would be like if you're using a troll as a character, your levels are going to get messed up with that sort of thing. So you're probably never going to need to mess with that at all. Modify class name. A couple options here. Here we have append in parenthesis. We have append with comma, without comma, replace. What this does is, I'll pull up my character over here, and it tells it right here. It gives this information within parenthesis. So if we wanted to change it, instead of saying paladin, now it's anti-paladin. We could just put that it would replace here, and then whatever is here would replace that. So it would just say anti-paladin. So if I were to just say replace, it will replace that. Replace this here, so I wouldn't even see paladin. I would just see Warrior of the Holy Light if I wanted to do that. Looks like a class or something. Counts as archetype. Again, we'll take a look at what we need. If you have this as a prerequisite, which you're probably not going to, this would be a little rough to do. But basically, what you would do is it's a list of all the archetypes and the classes and that kind of stuff, and you would really just select the class that you're doing. So in this case, it'd be a paladin, and I would just select paladin. So, but we're not going to mess with that. Some are pretty easy if there's alignments required or alignments forbidden. Now for paladin, I know you have to be a lawful good, but that's taken care of on the paladin class and not on this. But if like an anti-paladin were used, you could put it in here, and the alignment requirement could be, you know, chaotic evil or lawful evil, whatever they are. So you can change some information in there. I'm going to scroll down a little bit. If you want to clear the alignment restrictions, again, like paladins have that restriction, you can clear that out. class specials. This is where some meat comes into it here. Now I'm going to select class specials just to kind of show you what this is. On the Paladin, or I should say on the Warrior of the Holy Light, there's a variety of specials that you get. And I can't go over and take a look at it quite yet. Let me go over and show you. Okay, so it's some of these things here. Where's my specials tab? Oh, there it is. Okay, like the Aura of Justice, I believe, is on there. I'd have to go take a look. There's several things that are on there that let you do Power of Light. I know that's one of them. But what these are special abilities that the class has. And where you get them from is if they already exist, which it's hard to say if these do or don't exist already. But if they don't, you have to create them under this tab, the class special. And I can go in that in another video. But just know that's where the information would come from. Anything that's special, you know, to the class. It's a class special, kind of. So that's what it is. Now, Warrior of the Holy Light, you remove. I'll find it down here. I'm just going to keep scrolling. Big scroll, big scroll, big scroll. Everybody count along with me. Boy, I didn't see it. Probably went too fast. But basically what this is saying is that in order to have a Paladin of the Holy Light, there it is, he has to give up his Aura of Faith. So we take away his Aura of Faith, and he becomes a Warrior of the Holy Light. So it depends on what you want to do. You could have, basically this is replacing one ability for another ability. And you'll see this a lot in there. Again, modifying is the same sort of thing. Like maybe in order to become the CD, it takes all, you know, he gets +4 save on diseases. So you can just click it there. There's just a huge number of things here that you could choose. These are all the specials. Skill points per level override. Our Paladin right now is, it doesn't say on there, but he probably gets like 4 per level. And if we want to change that, let's say to a 6. This is where we do it. We would put a 6 in here, and it'd be 6 plus his int bonus per level. If we want to override the hit dice, again, a Paladin is a D10, but let's say the Warrior of the Holy Light, we want to make that a D4. We would just put a 4 in here like that, and so he would have a 4 hit dice, and that would show up. You would see that right here. So the D10, it would give whatever it is, like a D4. The next 4 are very similar. Attack bonus override. Again, there's a chart that you can see. If you look up Paladin, look up any class, it has your base attack bonus and then your 3 saves. And they all work off of 3 different speeds. If you probably the best way to look at fighters, both for fortitude and their attack, use a fast level, and that means like every level you're going to get a +1 added to it. Medium means that there's probably a 0 on the first level, and then it starts on level 2, and then it goes from there. Slow for something would be like a wizard. A wizard has a very slow, very bad fortitude and a very slow attack. So you give these, and it adjusts on how it will show up. Let me see if I can pull it over here. And let me see if I can find it. I don't think it's going to show me quite exactly what I'm looking for, but your base attack bonuses, and these would go up at different levels. If you just look in the book, you'll see the chart where it has the class that somebody is doing something, and you'll be able to figure that out pretty quickly. We keep going down. There's things like additional class skills. So if we want to add a class skill now, so let's say our warrior has a different class skills. Again, we can remove class skills, so we get to modify those. Same thing, additional languages, additional automatic languages, additional class weapons, armor and weapons, this sort of thing. So we can modify the class that it's being an archetype of to add languages, to really configure it on how we want. Keep going down. Maybe we want some, this is the bonus feats. If we want some bonus feats, we can add them in here. We just choose what they want. modify bonus feats per level, so we can add in how many they get per level and that sort of thing. So again, just varying up on what you do. Just depends on what the archetype is doing. Additional bonus feats allowed. Additional bonus feats. Here we can actually say what bonus feats they're only allowed to have. Like a fighter, fighter bonus feats are limited to, it's like 20 of them or something like that. So you could do something like that there. Spell casting is the next section. Warrior the Holy Light, the paladin gives up spell casting in order to use this archetype, and that's all this is saying. It loses the spell casting. You can provide all kinds of other information in here. If the archetype gives spell casting, then you can determine some of that information here. You can create a chart just like the chart that's in there, the books for that class. Spells known per level, again, just like what's in for like a wizard class or sorcerer or something like that. That's how you do it in there. Ignore spell failures. Like a wizard, if they're wearing larger armor, they get penalties for that. Here you can remove that. You can say, okay, I want a wizard that can wear plate and all that kind of stuff. Spontaneous bonus spells. Here again, we're talking about picking specific spells that are now part of this archetype. So maybe you want to go through here, and unfortunately, folks, it's a long list, not necessarily easy to get through. But this is a listing of all the spells. So let's say it's a lightning warrior. So he gets like call lightning, lightning storm, anything with a lightning in it. You could just go through and check and say, okay, they get this lightning, and those are the spells that they'd be able to pick up for this archetype. That's the spontaneous is like a sorcerer they'd be able to use. Spellbook is like a wizard. Same sort of thing. It just works a little bit different. The mechanic is a little bit different, so they don't have to add. It's spontaneous. They don't have to add it to a spellbook first before they can use it. Now, custom abilities. I may have to break this video into 2 parts, and I think I will. I think I'll stop here and do a part 2. So hold on just a moment, please, and we'll continue on part 2.